like Salesforce build a platform and put everything businesses need, we are going to build the platform around the instant messaging channels and put everything that businesses need. So this is the next generation of customer engagement.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with Leumitech, sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Synergy Global, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, Birthright Excel, Serona Partners, and in media partnership with CTech. Get ready for a very special episode of 20-Minute Leaders with Yanir Calisar, the CEO and co-founder of Whatslly. He has more than 12 years of entrepreneurship background and vast experience in the management and development of B2B SaaS Solutions. In 2009, Yanir became the first employee of an Israeli startup called Insightera, which was acquired by Marketo, the leading marketing automation solution, in 2013. He later founded Calisar Solutions LTD, a marketing solutions company that aimed to solve marketing teams' tech pain points by building integrative tools that help them automate their business and marketing operations. Yanir Calisar, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. I'm so honored to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Michael, for inviting me. It's great being here today.
We're going to have a great time. I'm so curious about startups and about startup journeys. And there's a lot of media around. There's a lot of news and hype in today's world. And I'm so excited when I meet somebody who's developed something that actually creates value. And how do we know that it creates value? Because you've bootstrapped this company for so long and creating actual product market fit with limited resources, proven what your product is doing, and recently announced a phenomenal $11 million seed round, which is just to say the validation of the hard work that you've done, led by the incredible Ze'ev Ventures by Oren Ze'ev, amongst an incredible list of investors, one by one, top of their industries. So first of all, Yanir, huge congratulations on the journey so far, and thank you for coming here to share it with me.
Thanks. I think the journey was very exciting so far, and the future is very bright. So we're actually disrupting, or actually we do not disrupt an industry. We actually build a new category that does not exist. So this is kind of very, very, it's fascinating to be a part of this kind of a journey. And I think that nowadays, when we hear about many companies going IPO, and we were all there when they just started and they were operating as early stage startups, and seeing them growing that much and becoming unicorns, this is very, very exciting, and it's great to be part of this ecosystem.
I love it. Yanir, you're talking about defining a new category. What is this new category that you're defining here?
Yeah, so I was actually, you mentioned our fundraise that we just closed in November last year, just 2.5 months ago. And I think that during the process of raising the fund, so it was very, very interesting, because until this point of time, we were running bootstrap. So as a bootstrap company for 2.5 years, we're just handling whatever you have on the way and just focusing on doing sales and developing the best product you can. And then at the point of time when you say, okay, we are going to raise funds, so suddenly you start like thinking about the messaging and thinking about the bigger picture and how, like, what next you're going to build, right? So this is a very interesting process, and then it really helped us to understand and to see the bigger picture and to understand that what we're building here is not just a few millions of dollars company. This is a potential to be a multi-billion dollar company. And the fact that we're building a category, so let me just briefly tell about what we're doing. So today we have a platform that connects WhatsApp and Salesforce. So we are the only ones in the world that provide this kind of solution. I mean, there are other solutions for chatbots over WhatsApp, and then you can integrate these chatbots with Salesforce in that way or another. But we're the only ones that covering the one-on-one engagement salespeople have with customers directly from their own personal or business WhatsApp. So if it sounds to you like a small plugin, so it's kind of true, right? Because this is how we started. It was supposed to be a small plugin, a small connector. So 2.5 years ago, when I thought about this idea, it came from a challenge that I had back then. Like I was talking with customers a lot over WhatsApp, and then I said, there must be a tool or some solution that I can use in order to be more productive and, to know the history of all the customers that I'm chatting with. So this was the pain point that I was trying to solve. So I started the company by myself. I was one-man show for almost a year. And then I came up with this plugin. Yeah. So I came up with this plugin, and it took me like a few weeks to develop it, like just the POC, right? Just the basic product. But then very quickly I started closing more customers, and not just like the first customer was from Israel. I didn't know this company, a ski deal. So I'm not so much big fan of doing ski. I'm a bit scared of it actually, but they approached me, and the Salesforce administrator there, he told me, wow, I was looking for a solution like you provide for 2 years.
Wow.
Like there is
what
no
a validation.
Yeah. So, and at the beginning, it was like more of small customers, small companies that were reaching out to me and told me like, you're solving a very like big pain point that we are having. Salespeople are not productive enough, and they cannot focus on doing sales because they need to do manual work all the time, right? Copy pasting the chat from WhatsApp to Salesforce. So this was kind of the POC. But then very, very quickly, I started closing more and more deals, and in Latin America and in Europe and in many, many countries around the world. And slowly, I started getting even enterprise customers asking about the product and starting the process with them. So then slowly it became from a small plugin, from small connector to platform. And then a year after I was running by myself,
Wait. I have to dwell on this year by yourself. They say a lot that being a founder and being a CEO is very lonely at the top, but there's no top here. There's a top, middle, and bottom, and all of them are you. What's both the rationale of running by yourself in that moment, and what was that like?
So I think this is the answer to this question starts a few years before. So maybe it's good to say a few words about myself. So in the past 13 years, I'm in high tech. So I started my career working for a small Israeli startup company called Insightera. I actually joined the two co-founders. I was the first employee that they hired. And then we developed a web personalization platform for B2B companies. And we were like back in 2009, we were the only ones that done that. And we were growing very, very fast, and we sold the product to many, many big companies around the world. And 3 years after we launched it, Marketo, which is a global marketing automation market leader, they acquired us. And then being a part of Marketo was a very interesting and very insightful journey, because I had a very interesting position. I was engaging with some of the largest customers that Marketo had back then. And I was listening to their pain points, their technological pain points. And I was the person that actually delivers custom solutions, tailor-made solutions to help them solve these pain points. So that led me to understand how big companies think, what pain points, what challenges they're trying to solve, and how to transform these pain points into micro solutions. And then after Marketo got acquired in 2016, I transformed this into my own business, and I started developing more and more micro solutions, mainly in the marketing, sales, and CRM integrations. And I had more than 15 solutions like that some of the top companies in Israel and in the US were using. So Whatslly was supposed to be another plugin at the beginning, but then in a matter of a few weeks, I realized that something much bigger than that is happening. And this is when I said, okay, I need to be focusing on this. So I think that the experience, the background of how to take something small, like a pain point that is very, very big for companies, and then build a solution. And also, I think I'm a big fan of working with customers, getting the feedback and implementing it into the product. Now, when you're a small startup, like typical startup, we're talking about 10 people, right? So like getting the feedback from customer and implementing it and making a feature or a module in the product might take a few weeks, few months. If you're a bigger company, it takes years, right? Or it never happens. But when you are a one-man show, so I got to a point where I'm hanging up the call with the customer, and then 45 minutes later, there is a feature in the product.
I think that Yanir, what you're touching on here, really amazingly, it sounds a lot like the Shayetet mentality, the Navy SEALs of Israel. And I have a colleague now who was in the Shayetet, and so I've come to understand this mentality of a small cohort of people that are so decisive and they're so agile, but they're also skilled enough to be able to execute themselves. And the pace at which you can run is just so much faster. And I think that is something that you're going to leave me pondering here right after the episode as well. But what I do want to touch on, go ahead.
I just want to share a tip that I always give to. I'm advising to many small early stage startups, maybe in the first days that they run. And my tip is always, when you have an idea. So it's very easy, and all of us are very, very creative and innovative. Like to start saying, we can do that, we can make it look like that, and also let's integrate with that. And I think that bottom line, if you just stop and you say, okay, let's put all the ideas in one place, but the minimum, like the MVP model, I think this is a great model to follow when you are starting. So just do the minimum you can. Just to be able to deliver the value, the basic value that your customers ask and need. And then whenever you have this POC, suddenly, and today 99% of the product is based on what we got from customers, right? I just started the basic stuff, and then everything came later along with the customers.
Product-led growth, and in the most real way possible. And I think one of the most incredible things that you're doing here is you're connecting two worlds that have emerged in the last few years that sort of grew very distinctly apart. We have one is this instant messaging phenomena that we're used to, right? That now everywhere we go, we're instant messaging with each other. This is how we get things done. We expect customer service this way because it's the most friendly way. On the other hand, we expect businesses to be more data driven, to collect more data points and use more enterprise software like Salesforce. And now the question stems: how do you do instant messaging experience while allowing the business to have that enterprise data-driven mentality?
And you touch exactly. So you asked me about the vision, where we're going to. You touched exactly in the point. I think that I had a call with one of the top VCs in Israel that really wanted to be a part of this the recent round, but unfortunately they could it didn't work for this round, but hopefully they will be part of the next round. And then on the call, the managing partner there, she told me, you are disrupting the market like Salesforce done it 20 years ago. And I asked her, what do you mean? Because no one told me that before. And she told me, look, 20 years ago, there were many CRM solutions in the world, right? But then Salesforce came and said, we're going to put our CRM in the cloud. And it's not just the CRM in the cloud, we will build a platform and we'll put everything that businesses need in order to support their first growth inside the CRM. So they won't need to leave the CRM. The salespeople will have everything inside it. And they disrupted the market, right? And this is why they are so successful 20 years later. And I think that, as you said, today, and especially post-pandemic, everything is going to instant messaging. Everything is being done over instant messaging. And I started saying before that at the beginning, it was small companies, but then slowly I started seeing more and more companies coming from Latin America asking about the product. And then I started doing the research and I understood why it's specifically Latin America. So look, in Israel, we do everything over WhatsApp, right? In Latin America, they do everything only over WhatsApp. So they don't use email. They don't use emails. They don't do face-to-face because it's COVID. And if you call your customer, you might lose the deal because it's kind of rude to do it. So Volkswagen and other automotive companies, Subaru, they are using WhatsApp to sell cars. Completely, only WhatsApp. They are selling cars over WhatsApp. And it took me a while to digest that. But then if you think about it, they have all the customer data inside the CRM, but the missing part is what happens throughout the journey, right? What led to the deal being closed. They don't have any visibility. So they use Whatslly today to help their dealers sell more cars and also to finally have the visibility, because the instant messaging is black box. They don't have the integration with the CRM and with other systems in the organization. So like Salesforce build a platform and put everything businesses need, we are going to build the platform around the instant messaging channels and put everything that businesses need. So this is the next generation of customer engagement.
Beautiful. The name Whatslly, how I get the Watts from WhatsApp perhaps, but what's the LLY?
There is not so much meaning. So I was thinking
Awesome.
about,
I love it.
I was identifying, it was the first name that I had in mind when, we talked a minute ago about moving fast, like not stopping to think too much. Like, of course, we've done a lot of thinking along the way, but, about the critical things. And
Yep.
so far, Whatslly like played well with the product that we currently have. But as said, like now the vision is to integrate with other instant messaging channels, with other CRM solutions, get to new industries. And I think like soon we're gonna change it. We're gonna do a rebranding. But this wasn't the priority.
Well, I love Whatslly, so please consult with me before you do a rebranding, and I'll convince you to stay.
Be sure that you get a phone call. I'll WhatsApp you when we're changing.
Ah, there you go, and it'll go straight into my Salesforce. In Yanir, a lot of companies today, they don't like to be compared to others. They don't like to say, "Oh, you're like Google for that," or "You're like Facebook for that." You're hugging the comparison. You're hugging the integration that is Whatslly, right? A lot of startups are fighting, oh, you're integrating with that, so you're just doing that. You're actually hugging it and saying this is our core, existence. Is there any resistance from that? Any thoughts about that, or is it just a natural thing for you? The fact that your slogan is saying we're connecting WhatsApp and Salesforce, so you have other companies' names in your slogan, which is quite unique in today's market, where founders often try to disengage with any other company in their branding.
So I think the logo and the messaging so far was very, very niche, right? Was very specific, was very tailored to the pain point or the challenge that we help companies solve. As said, like now the next generation, the next phase, the next part of our life, the journey is to do the rebranding, as we are just switching off from just the integration between WhatsApp and Salesforce, and we will be a platform that helps companies to improve customer experience over instant messaging channels, help making their salespeople much more productive in their work, much more successful in closing deals, and keeping the systems of the company updated, and also for management teams to have the visibility into these customer interactions that today they're completely blind about. I also want to mention one more use case that we have with many of our customers, and this is kind of very scaling up in the past few months. Specifically when we're talking, so like the fact that customer-facing people are using instant messaging channels, it creates many challenges. Some of them, what I mentioned before, but I think that there is a much larger challenge or risk. When we're talking about finance companies or healthcare, insurance, even telecom, there is a huge risk of compliance, right? There is a record-keeping regulation in like every country. And these companies must document every interaction that they have with customers in any channel. So if you go to the bank over here, you meet your person over there or some representative of the bank, he will document every word that he tells you and also anything that you reply to him. Also, when you're calling them, they always tell you this call might be monitored for training and regulation purposes. So it's not happening today over WhatsApp. And you know what is the interesting part? I don't know if you saw the news. Last month, JP Morgan Chase got $200 million fine for not monitoring, for not documenting these interactions over WhatsApp. So again, this is a huge pain point, and we have a few customers in the financial industry already, a few very huge financial advisory companies in Brazil, in Latin America, that are aware of this regulation, and they did know that they must solve it. as soon as possible. So these are the more large deals that we're closing these days. I do think that the story about Latin America is very interesting as well. Every generic, every standard Israeli startup company, when it starts, they say like, yeah, we're going to build the product, we're going to build the R&D team over here in Israel, and then business development in Palo Alto, and let's grow. And I think that many people don't know the Latin American market, and I didn't know it either, right? Only in Brazil, which is the largest economy in Latin America, you want to guess how many medium-sized and larger companies are there over there? You want to guess?
Ooh, I love guessing games. How many small, medium-sized businesses in Brazil?
Medium and larger, yeah.
In Brazil, I would go for maybe 50,000.
5 million.
No.
Yeah. So the economy over there is huge. There are 200 million.
Oh my God.
There are 200 million people in Brazil. Now, leave aside the fact that this is the second largest market for WhatsApp around the world. This is why we're focusing there. Many companies, and also 82% of the businesses use WhatsApp to engage with customers. So this makes a lot of sense for us to focus in Brazil.
Yanir, I want to ask for a favor. I have about 50 more questions that I have in my mind right now to ask you. And I called the show 20-minute leaders, and I have to abide by the rule that I unfortunately said. But I already want to book you for another episode, and I want to hear the story of breaking into the Latin America market from somebody who didn't know it before, researched it, came across it, product-led growth, validation came inbound, and now is doing some incredible things there. And so I want to book you for another episode just on that and ask the 50 questions I have in my mind. But for now, I want to thank you for being here and for sharing with me your journey. This was fascinating, and I absolutely loved it. And now I love Whatslly, and it's incredible. And thank you very, very much, Yanir.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and looking forward for the next time.
I'm excited. Thank you.